Welcome to the Shackup Tower. This is the third and final stop of our tour of the Shackup cabins up here in Nova Scotia. And I may just be saving the best for last. We've already been to their A-frame, their cabin, and now we are here at their new Airbnb listing, a tiny home tower that is perched 30 feet above the ground. It has these absolutely stunning 360-degree views. The Atlantic Ocean is literally right behind you now as I am speaking to you. And I also just don't even know logistically how they managed to build this thing. I mean, there's even a hot tub up here, guys. Like, how do you have a hot tub 30 feet up in the air? It's pretty wild. There's some other really key amenities inside, like a fancy espresso maker and a wood stove. And it has this overall just really gorgeous old school and vintage vibe to it. So cannot wait for you guys to check out this gorgeous Airbnb with me. Let's now go and hop straight into the full tour. Welcome to this absolutely epic Airbnb in Nova Scotia. These shots were taken around sunrise, and there was this perfect beam of light going straight down the driveway that made for some stunning conditions like this. Now, the actual home itself is about 400 square feet total, so definitely a tiny home. But the best part of this experience, in my opinion, is the fact that it's 30 feet up in the air. Down below, that little building on the right is just filled with utilities, so we won't go inside. But here on the left, you have not one, not two, but three gigantic piles of firewood. And there's even more wood up top near the main entrance. You have plenty of supplies. Let's now begin to go up top, so I'll walk past the firewood through that door, which leads to this walkway and then the stairs. And the stairs honestly are not that bad at all. I would just pack light because you're not going to want to lug too much stuff up here. We've now made it to the top. How cool does this tower look? There is a 360-degree deck that goes around the home, so there are actually a lot of exterior features for us to see. First up is the famous hot tub that I mentioned earlier. Again, I have no idea how they got this thing up here or how they maintain it or deal with the water, but I was definitely surprised to find a hot tub. In this other corner, you can find a small picnic table, and at the final end, there are two additional chairs that face away from the ocean towards the sunset. Last but certainly not least, just look at these views. The Atlantic Ocean is so close, and trust me, commit and set that early alarm because you do not want to miss this. The tower directly faces sunrise for perhaps one of the best sunrise experiences of your life. And this is what the surrounding area looks like. We're in a spot called La Have, Nova Scotia, about 1 hour outside of Halifax. And all of these shots were taken right down the road from the tower. But that's it for everything on the exterior, so I'll get a bit closer now and open up the main door because it's time to now go start the interior portion of the tour. The interior is made up entirely of this one main room with the exception of the bathroom. To go into more detail, I'll begin in the kitchen. The kitchen is on the smaller end, but is definitely quite well equipped for its size. If you look above the sink in the windows, you can see those two neat looking lighting fixtures. Now onto the appliances, you have all of the important ones, like your fridge and freezer there on the left, and if we look straight ahead next to the sink, you can see the oven and stovetop. Above the stovetop, there are some items that the host left behind on the windowsill, like this nice bag of coffee beans. There's also a bag of espresso for the fancy espresso machine that I'll touch on later, and a nice green box of peppermint tea, so you have plenty of options for your morning cup of caffeine. Finally, on the right, you can see a few of your coffee mugs and your small faucet and sink, and down below, you have some of your big bowls and glasses. Before we go further into the main open room, I'll briefly go to the one closed off section, which is the bathroom shown here. I love the black and white floor tiling, the light green paint job, and the cute bathroom sink. There's also that lighting in the top right. This is a closer up shot of the tiling, and then this is what your shower looks like. Right outside of the bathroom, I'll take a quick break to remind you to always help Smokey to prevent forest fires. Around the corner, you can then find your bedroom. It directly faces towards sunset, and I love the vintage look of this bedspread. They somehow managed to squeeze a queen mattress up here. Now, smack dab in the middle of this room, you can see all of these items. And up and down that pillar on top of the counter, you can see some extra mugs, and all the way at the top, there are your wine glasses. But of course, the key feature is the fancy espresso machine. And these hosts thought ahead. If you've never used one of these before, you can scan this QR code, and it gives you a nice instructional video on how to make your first drink using this machine. I'm starting to see more and more fancy espresso machines like this in the past year or so. I think it's a great value add for hosts to offer to guests to attract those true coffee lovers. Down below, you can find a nice chessboard and some games, and keeping with the vintage style, right next to the espresso machine is a large collection of cassettes and a cassette player. There is a nice variety of classic artists ranging from Buddy Holly to even Bon Jovi and many others. This is a great change from all the record players that I see in Airbnbs. I don't think I've come across a cassette player in any Airbnbs recently on all of my travels. Let's head into the final space in the interior, and that would be your super cozy living room. There are a few more neat vintage pieces throughout. Like if we look there on the far right on the counter, there is this old school telephone system. And of course we need our wood stove. So you have this mini one here on top of the platform. All of the wood and the fire starting supplies were already prepped for me. I just had to take a lighter to it. And now everything is good to go. And I was just relaxing near the fire with a magazine, which by the way, they have an amazing magazine collection, which includes some old school National Geographic editions. This one was from 1962. It's over 60 years old. Thanks for watching, guys. The link to book this place and their new website is down in the video description. And if the tower is booked or you're just planning a long vacation to Nova Scotia, I highly suggest their A-frame shown here. Just look at that location. They also have their original cabin with this incredible wood-powered hot tub and a babbling brook outside, not to mention the cozy interior. Thanks again, and I'll see you very soon for another Airbnb tour.